not slow because you suck at editing. You are slow because your system sucks. The truth is that most editors spend 70% of their time doing things that don't even improve the final video. And I have learned all this after more than 10,000 hours of editing. So today I'm breaking down 10 tips that completely changed my workflow inside DaVinci Resolve. And these are the same principles that I'm using on every single project for brands, music artists, any kind of documentary, YouTube vlogs, all kinds of videos. Let's go with the first one, which is building your editing environment like a factory. Please stop treating your project like a random timeline. Every single edit I start has the same structure. 2 master timelines, one for cleaning the footage and the second one for the final video. Organized bins for footage, music, and sound effects. Color labels for different content.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, man.
That I'm never losing time searching for.
Oh, clients be making me tweak, bro.
So I know on which part of the story I am.
How bad do you want it though?
Really done in my free project template.
They making me tweak, bro. Like I still got somebody else to finish, and like my client's like, oh hey, can you do this? 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 Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this?
Start dragging in random clips, and that is chaos. Before I even touch the timeline, I decide why this video even exists. Is it emotion, energy, information? When you know the purpose, your cuts naturally follow that rhythm. Intent gives direction, and directions leads to speed. The third one is trim ruthlessly. Nobody cares about your extra seconds. Beginners fear cutting too much, and pros fear leaving too much. Every second that doesn't add meaning, flow.
This is like silly. We're talking about the call. You get a year of Stan Store. This is a service. You're supposed to pay for it. When we started this challenge, if you want to build a business using social media, there are a few huge mistakes you have to avoid making. And I see people fall into these over and over again. I call these the 7 deadly pitfalls. If you can avoid all of these, it's pretty much guaranteed that you will eventually win on social media. But if you fall into
Alright, let me get right, man. Damn.
Set you back months or even years immediately. So in this video, I'm gonna break down all 7 deadly pitfall mistakes that you need to avoid at all costs when you're growing on social media. I'll cover what to do, what not to do, and most importantly, how to fix it if you've already made one or more of these critical mistakes. By the way, I'm Callaway, I have 1 million followers, I've done billions of views, and content is all I do all day long. Alright, mistake number 1 is super simple, but it's devastating for the people that make it. And it has to do with running paid ads. And I'll say it super plainly. If you have an organic account that's already working on social media, do not ever run paid ads directly through that organic account. I'm talking about boosting organic posts directly. Do not do it. If you've already done this, you'll know immediately what I'm about to say and why this is such a critical mistake. When you run paid ads through an organic account, one of 2 things is gonna happen. First, you send a signal to the social platform that you're willing to pay for additional reach. This means you have money in their eyes. When they detect this, it's rumored that the platforms will slowly throttle down the free organic reach you are getting to try to bait you into continuing to pay. Now, they'll never admit this, and it's anecdotal, can't be proved, but if you think about it, it makes a ton of sense if this is how it works. If I was running a social platform trying to optimize for ad revenue, that's exactly what I would do. Now, I'm not here to spread rumors that I can't substantiate for sure, so let's just assume the platforms don't literally throttle you just because you paid. It doesn't even really matter, because the second thing that happens when you run paid ads on an organic account is that you will notice your reach go down. It's not the platforms doing it on purpose, but something happens that will force your reach down. Let me explain. When you have an organic account that's working and you're posting content for free and viewers are coming in, the algorithm...
Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and hop right into it. I'm listening to this like guy talk at the same time, but we're about to go ahead and put her inside of this bubble.
Bring in a whole new crop of viewers to your original organic audience, many of which aren't a perfect exact match to that ideal audience avatar. And when they come in, they don't engage because of the content on its own, they engage because of whatever promise the ad was making. In other words, by paying for more reach, you've actually diluted the clarity that the algorithm has on who your audience is. So when you run your next organic post for free, a portion of those viewers that see it are the ones that came in from the paid ads. And they won't engage or watch it because they didn't actually like you or the content in the first place. This leads to weak performance metrics on the organic post, which signals to the algorithm your content has gotten worse, so they push it less. That's why your views go down. The truth is, your content may not have gotten worse, but your content audience fit did. So when you run paid ads on an organic account that's working, either the platforms literally throttle you, or your newly expanded but less targeted audience engages less. Either way, your organic reach is going down. Now, I can't say conclusively exactly how many paid ads it takes to trigger this effect. I also can't say the amount of ad spend it would take to trigger this. But if this has happened to you and you had an account working, you ran paid ads, and now the account is no longer working, you'll know immediately this is real and how devastating that can be. Now, I'll say this, there is a way to revive an organic account where this is happening. And the way is by shifting the mix of your audience more organic and less paid. So all you have to do is post a ton of organic content, probably months worth in a row, and try to slowly rebalance that mix to be more organic. But if you did run a lot of paid ads and your audience is a lot of those pay-to-play people that didn't really want to be there, your account might be cooked. So my recommendation, and I cannot say this clearly enough, once you have an organic account that is working, do not run paid ads directly from that account. Now, here's a really important distinction when it comes to paid ads, and this is where I will square my advice from all the things you're hearing from people like Gary Vee and others. It's true that the best strategy for using social media is to first run organic posts to verify what works, and then juice those organic posts with ads. That is the optimal strategy. But here's the critical difference. When you run them as ads, you don't boost directly from the organic golden goose. You either run them from a meta ads account that's connecting multiple accounts together, or you take the creative that worked to a separate account designed for paid and boost it there. Once you have the golden goose, you do not boost directly from that, or you'll lose the organic reach. This is the nuance that not a lot of people talk about, but I've seen over and over again is a huge mistake from business owners. Again, I'm not saying paid ads are bad. Paid ads are amazing, but running paid ads on an organic account that's already getting you free reach is a disaster. All right, the second major social media mistake that I see is people that get spread too thin way too early. I call this failure by suffocation, not to be crude. Here's what happens. Typically, someone will start to get some traction on one social platform. Maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's YouTube. But what happens is that instead of doubling down to really focus your attention to scale and systematize, instead, they immediately try to expand from one to many platforms. When you do this, you fracture your focus, kind of like Voldemort's Horcruxes in Harry Potter. And this suffocates that initial golden goose platform of the creative and operational attention that it needed. So you go from spinning one plate successfully.
Ooh, which one do I like better? This is tough.
And this is probably the biggest hidden mistake in all of business, not just content. You jump to a second, third, or fourth battle before winning and locking things up on the home front first. Now, I know this mistake intimately because this is the single biggest misstep that I have made in my content and entrepreneurial journey. So here's what I recommend you do instead, and what I wish I would have done if I could go back to the beginning. Start with a single platform and a single content format. So for me, it would have been short form video on Instagram. What you want to do is compound all your focus and attention on that one single surface. And that means becoming automatic at making winning content every single time for that platform, responding to all comments, responding to all DMs, really going all in on that one platform ecosystem. Then build a system for producing the optimal content volume on that platform. In this case, for Instagram and short form video, it'd be one post per day. Build a system for doing that. And do not focus on anything else until that system runs itself. And the way you judge if it can run itself is that you hire yourself out of every non-delegatable task without the quality or quantity going down. Now that system must be resilient enough to run for 30 days in a row without breaking. That's how you know it really works. This will probably take you 3, 6, maybe 12 months to do that one system for that one platform in that one format. It is only at that point, once you have a system running for 30 days in a row without breaking, that you should then expand and try to tackle another content platform. I call this overall approach methodical expansion. This is the right strategy to prevent yourself from burnout and really set up a strong foundation to be able to build on top of. But most people don't do this. Most people get a tiny bit of traction on that first platform, realize it's going to be a ton of work, fracture their focus somewhere else because they think it's an easier game, and then they're fighting on two fronts, which brings both of their outputs down. I know this intimately because this is what I did. The truth is, and this really is the golden nugget, if you pick the right platform format combination the first time for whatever it is your business is, you might not ever need a second, third, or fourth. That first one could feed your business forever. So if you're a beginner, hopefully this is encouraging to hear. You don't need to fight on all fronts. Pick one format, one platform, and go all in on getting the most out of it. Build a system, delegate yourself out of that system, make sure it's resilient, and then consider expanding to a second. All right, social media mistake number 3 is what I call shotgun topics. And And this happens when you cover too many different topics on the same social media account. This is one of those mistakes that is gonna make your growth feel like quicksand. You're moving, your legs are churning, but you're actually going nowhere. Here's what happens. Social media algorithms are designed to cluster around similar topics. That's how they're built. This is why social media in the For You era is not really social media anymore, it's more like interest media. The algorithms figure out what topics you're interested in as a viewer, detect what topic a video is about, and then try to best match the two so that viewers see things they're interested in. So as a creator, your only goal is to train the algorithm that your channel is a go-to for a specific topic cluster set. The more it feels confident in this designation, the more it will know who to put your videos in front of, and the more it will push them. The big mistake that many creators and brands make, especially at the beginning, is that they assume the viewer is there for them as the person. And because of that, they have a free license to talk about whatever topic they want. The truth is, viewers aren't watching for you, they're watching for their own selfish interests, whether that be entertainment or educational value. Now I'll admit, maybe your top 5 to 10% super fans will listen to you talk about whatever topic you want, regardless if it's in their interest set. But for the other 90 to 95%, the masses, they couldn't care less if you cover a topic they don't care about. So when creators or brands try to cover too many topics on the same channel, the algorithm gets confused, doesn't know who to push you for, and then pushes you less. So my recommendation is very simple. Build a channel that is world-class around a single topic. If you have an offer, a product, or a personal brand domain that you know you're building for, this shouldn't be hard. You already have your topic, stick with that. And if you're early in the content game and you're not really sure what category or topic to pick, that's totally fine. Feel free to experiment and jump around. Just know you won't grow very fast until you lock in on one. Again, this is something that I personally struggle with a lot in my own channels, and upon reflection, I realized I was playing the game completely wrong. That's why I didn't grow as fast as I wanted. I had a tech and AI channel where I also intermixed videos about brand and marketing. I thought, I'm the GOAT, so I can violate the rules and people would just follow for me and it doesn't really matter. I was wrong, because even though I was getting millions of views on both types of videos, my audience wasn't growing. And that's because every time I posted, only half of my audience would have cared about the topic in the first place. And that half was switching depending on whether I was making tech or marketing. What I realized is that I'd be a lot better off just making 2 different accounts and training them separately. Separate algorithms, separate audiences, and compounding like that. This way, I could become a go-to in each field and have the algorithm help me both times instead of hurt me. Do not cover too many topics on a single channel if you're trying to grow faster. Just pick one or make multiple channels. All right, social media mistake number 4, and a huge trap, is probably the most common question that I get asked.
Meet Photo AI, the photo editing software that everyone's talking about. Go out and create more. Evoto saves you time by accelerating tedium.
And it has to do with picking your niche, specifically feeling like you wasted time and effort if you picked the wrong one. So the question we're answering here, and the pitfall we're really avoiding, is how do I pick the right niche based on my goals so that I make sure I use my time wisely? Now, I'm gonna make it super simple for you. I have a 4-question framework that you can use to figure out what niche is best for you. And this works for every person, brand, creator, any scenario. This is the ideal formula for figuring out your niche. Okay, it's a 4-question thing. The first question, are you trying to make money from content or not? If not, the answer is easy. You should pick the niche or topic that you're most interested in. Don't overthink it. Don't try to calculate things. You're not going for money. You know that. And so pick the topic that you actually care the most about. If yes, you are trying to make money from content, maybe not today, maybe eventually, keep going to question 2. All right, second question. Do you already have a product or offer or service or an established personal brand niche that you know you want to drive traffic to? Yes or no? If yes, then that's also easy because the topic or niche decision has already been made for you. If you have a product or service or offer, you're making content about that niche. Your goal is to become an expert or position your brand as an expert in that niche to flow back to the product. If you sell accounting services, you're making accounting content. If you sell social media growth coaching, you're making content about social media. Again, your goal is to become one of the most well-known brands or personal brands in the space, developing an expertise or perspective on that topic. Okay, now if you don't already have a product or offer or service or personal brand category defined, you're gonna keep going to question 3. Okay, question 3, are you a complete beginner with 0 content skills in this format, or do you have the basics already dialed? And by the way, the only way you should consider having the basics dialed is if you've made a lot of content in this exact format. So if you're doing short form video, the only way you can say you have the basics dialed is if you've made 30 or more short form videos in the past. So if you've never done 30 short form videos, if that's the medium you're going for, you are considered a beginner. Okay, so question 3 is, are you a beginner or not? If you're a beginner, you're gonna pick whatever topic you're most interested in. Doesn't matter, and you're gonna make 20 or 30 short form videos on that. And I know this will sound counterintuitive, but you're gonna assume after those 20 to 30 videos, you may have to start over from scratch on a new topic. And this is completely fine, it's completely okay. Those first 20 to 30 videos are what I consider your learning era. Because the truth is, if you're trying to actually make money from social media, closing the skill gap on how you make content will come before you actually make any money. So the most important thing you can do is pick a topic you actually like so that you make enough videos to be able to close the gap. You have to close the gap. The only way to close it is to make videos. The only way you're going to keep making enough videos to close it is by picking a topic you actually care about. Now, once you hit 20 to 30 videos on whatever topic you picked, you will graduate from a true beginner to having the basics covered. Level 1 to level 2. And at that time, you can decide to keep going with the niche you've chosen based on all the new information and skills you have, or restart from zero with a new niche, but you get to take the skills with you. Okay, so once you graduate from being a beginner to having the basics dialed, whether you came into this exercise having the basics done, or you've done step 3, you did the 20 to 30 videos on your favorite topic, and now you have the basics covered.
I'm gonna merge these 2 layers. Sorry, this one could be by itself. So now I could do it again.
Own products, services, or offers, or are you mostly trying to monetize from brand deals? And I know you may not understand what this means today if you're a pure beginner, but let me try to break this down. Really what I'm saying is, do you eventually want to both have to make content and make products? Or do you just want to make content and get paid to make content? Those are kind of the 2 paths. Now, like I said, if you're a true beginner, you may not understand the difference today, but that's fine because you're not going to be on step 4 today. You're going to be on step 3, making your first 20 to 30 videos to close the skill gap. Okay, now back to the monetization, because the question 4 is really where people get tripped up. If you're trying to monetize from your own products or services, but you don't have them today, you don't know what they're going to be, the best way to pick what content to make is either a space where you have unique insights or experience. Maybe you worked a job in the past, maybe you've really studied it or focused it. Or you pick a customer profile that you want to spend the next decade interacting with, talking with, studying, and communicating with. This is how you work backwards if you don't have a product or offer today, but you think you want one in the future. This is how you start with the content audience to then fit into the product or offer. For example, let's say you have a bunch of unique knowledge around wellness. You studied nutrition in college, you worked at a wellness startup, you just really care about wellness, or you just want to be in the wellness space, you know that, you just don't know how, you don't know what you want to make, etc. Well then I would pick wellness as my content topic and start hammering videos in wellness. Eventually you will figure out what people need and build a product or offer, but you don't need to close that gap today. What you do want to do is make sure directionally you're angled towards a space that you want to keep going in. And so thinking about where you have expertise or which audience profile you want to play with is a really good way to think about this backwards. Okay, now on the other side, let's say you never want to own your own products, right? Making content is enough. You don't want to have to both make content and make products. You're good just making content. That would be the brand deal side. What you really want is to make content and have brands pay you to do it. So if that's you, the way I would pick my niche, if I don't
What's up, y'all?
that I'm obsessed with,
I'm live on YouTube right now.
Companies that make a ton of profit already paying influencers a lot to make content. So for example, if you're trying to monetize from brand deals, but you cover nonprofits, well, you're gonna have a problem because the nonprofits don't pay influencers that much to cover them. So if you actually want to build a business and make money from brand deals, you gotta pick a niche where the companies that are already paying influencers are paying a ton, because that shows they're willing to pay more. So if this is your path, I would spend less time thinking about what customer you're selling to and more time thinking about the players in the industry or the players in the space that would be paying you for those brand deals. Because your customers really are the brands, not the end buyer. Now the truth is, ideally, whether you take the products and services path or the brand deal path, there's some Venn diagram that merges what you actually care about and then either where you have unique interest or which brands are paying. Ideally, there's an intersection that overlaps, and that's the niche you pick. The reality, though, is that it's going to take hundreds of videos or hundreds of posts on social media for you to see any amount of money. So you really do need to pick a niche that you think you could make at least 100 posts about. So that's the 4-question framework that really applies to any creator or brand on earth that runs through exactly how to pick your niche. The honest truth about content and social media is that the only way you lose is if you stop posting. And so as long as you pick a category that you'll keep posting in, you'll win for sure. This is why I can't tell you personally which niche to pick specifically. I can only give you a framework to try to think through what matters at every stage. So if you're a beginner, and I know a lot of people are watching this, pick a single category you're interested in, make 30 videos, close that beginner skill gap, and then reevaluate with question 4. All right, by the way, guys, if you like how I'm breaking all of this down, kind of trying to explain these heady concepts that not a lot of people talk about into simple terms, I actually built a free community specifically for business owners where I do this for every aspect of the content workflow. You're trying to grow on social media, you're trying to grow on YouTube, you need help with strategy, with thumbnails, with execution, with editing. All of it is explained in this type of framework in Wavy World. We have 65 free trainings, 35,000 entrepreneurs are already in there. It's really a no-brainer. If you want to get better at content and you're a business owner, it's for you. Got a link in the description below if you want to sign up. All right, social media mistakes number 5 and 6 really go hand in hand, so I'm going to combine them together here. And they really have to do with experimenting to find new visual formats and then sticking with one once you have it working. Most creators and brands are on the hunt for one thing. When you scroll and you're like, I want mine to look like this, what you're really looking for is a signature visual format that you can hit over and over and over that just looks like you. Branding, visually, execution, it just feels like you. That's what most people are looking for. Now, there are a ton of great examples of this in action on social media today, of course. My friend Oren has a signature format called Product versus Brand, where he takes a category, water bottles or coffee machines, and he breaks down the different products or brands that people buy. Are you buying it for the product because of the utility and functionality, or are you buying it for the brand because you're paying a markup for the name or logo? There's a popular creator called Chloe Shi who has a famous series, 30 Lessons Under 30. She crushed from that. Another creator, Adrian Per, super sick, has his own kind of signature visual format. You recognize immediately that it's one of his videos. My friend Ryan Sue has a really cool series called Creator Marketing where he breaks down creators. Again, you see this, you immediately know it's his. The list goes on, but most of the biggest creators have their own signature visual format, and that is what you know them for. But why I wanted to cover this in this video is that there's a common mistake a lot of people fall into when it comes to approaching this visual format. And the first one has to do with beginners stressing themselves out when they don't have one initially. When you're a beginner, and I know this because I was a beginner and felt this too, all you want is to close the gap between where you are today, and then the future of having a dialed signature visual format that people love. All you want is to close that gap. But from my experience, and this is the huge mistake, you cannot force the discovery of this signature visual format. If you constantly think about it and try to over-engineer it, it will not come. Most of these signature formats or signature visuals were born out of one rogue idea that those creators had. They tried a bunch of stuff, threw it at the wall, something sticked, they doubled down a couple times, realized it was a pattern, that it was working, and that's how they eventually emerged to have this signature format. So here are 2 quick tips for beginners or brands.
Yo, what's up, G? Live on the tube. I'm live on the tube.
The first one is all you really need is one unique angle or signature visual element in your videos. Maybe it's a small object you hold every single time you film. Maybe it's a specific animation or graphic style. Maybe it's a certain font. Maybe it's a certain color palette that you use every single time. Instead of trying to force architect an entire world on day one, which is a lot to bite off, just focus on picking one visual element that you want to experiment with including. This element might morph into your full signature visual style eventually. Now, second, this is the most helpful workflow I've found to try to discover what these signature visual formats are that are working in your space so you can get inspiration for your own. The first thing you're gonna do is pull up all the popular creators in your niche on sandcastles.ai. Then, when you're in the videos tab, you can go to the channel filter and search individual creators one after another.
With the neural filter,
videos in the videos tab by views,
harmonization, select the layer.
What you'll notice pretty quickly is that any series they have will show itself in the top. So for example, we pulled my friend Oren up, his last 12 months worth of posts, and sorted it by views, and right away you can immediately see the product versus brand format and series really shows at the top. A lot of his top performing posts are in this format. So if you're in the brand marketing or social media growth or creative direction space and you like Oren and you pulled him up, you might see this and be like, what can I take from this and twist to make my own signature visual format? So maybe instead of his product versus brand, if you're in the cooking niche, you come up with a series called Dine vs. Dash, where you go to restaurants and you film in an interesting visual way their signature dishes as they get served, and then you decide in the video if you're gonna dine, eat it, or dash, leave. That could be an interesting twist on Oren's signature format that you use on your own. Or maybe you make the series Eat In or Take Out, where if you're a chef at home, you cook your own version of a signature dish, you also take out one from the restaurant, and then you compare them side by side. And you could shoot it really cool in the kitchen. See, the core of Oren's series, Product vs. Brand, is there. The core bones are there, but you really iterated and twisted it a ton to where it's almost not recognizable. So the mistake here is avoiding
layer,
forcing the visual style from day one. Either pick a small element and experiment,
Back
or
on.
do some research on the top creators in your space and try to understand what format visually and series-wise they've created, and then twist it to try to make your own. Now, one other tip on the flip side, for the few people watching this that do already have a signature visual format.
In just 2 days, I'll show you how to unlock the most advanced AI filmmaking and content creation tools without having to pay a cent in overpriced subscriptions. And with these tools, you'll learn how to create scroll-stopping videos that rack up millions of views, craft wildly profitable online ads that blow up your brand, and turn any creative idea into a...
Don't go away from it. Too many people have something working.
I've been killing you with the upload, bro. Thank you, bro. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to get back right, because it used to be a daily thing. So I'm getting back right, bro. I'm getting back right.
Over and over and over and over until it stops working. If you strike gold, it'll keep working. I'm telling you.
I'm getting
People
back
will tend
right.
to associate you with this visual style, and it will deepen their fandom more quickly. So if you get one of these winners, do not abandon it. All right, mistake number 7 is really the Mac Daddy of all these mistakes, and this is not letting the data tell you which content you should make next. It boggles my mind how many creators and brands are making content fully based on their gut, not using any data at all. The truth is, if you just replicate the content that's already working in your niche over and over, you will win. It really is that simple. And that's because human viewers tend to behave the same way over and over. Now,
I'm letting this replicate that bubble over her. That's why I'm like, that's why I did it like that for that screen. Replicate that bubble over her.
And so that's why I spent the last 12 months codifying that system into a tool. That's what Sandcastles.ai is. Really, Sandcastles is just a social media data engine. It lets you find and use proven content formats to then incorporate in your own content to make it better. This is exactly how I use it to get a data advantage over everyone else. First, I build a list of all the top performing creators or brand accounts in my space.
Yeah, I think this is hard, bro. Like, what? Before, after, before, after, before, after, what?
6 or 12 months organized by views, or by outlier score, or by engagement score.
It's tough. And I
Immediately,
can
I
still
can
go down
see
a
all
little
the
bit.
winners organized right there for me. Now, here's where it gets crazy. I can now click into any of those
Command
videos,
J.
and I can extract out
Command
the
T.
topics, the hooks,
Right click.
or the storytelling style that they use using one click. So right here, I can take this video, go to the transcript, see that I like the hook, click save that hook to my vault, and then I've extracted that hook as a component template that I can use in future videos that I make. Now this vault is basically my personalized database of all the winning hooks and styles that I've found across all winning videos. So then when I go to write a new script on whatever topic I want, I can use that proven hook or proven storytelling style again and again and again with one click. So it's my topic using their proven hook or their style, or it's my topic using their proven hook or my style, or it's my topic using my best proven hooks and my style. There's infinite combinations when you build this vault out. Either way, I'm using the best of the best of the best components at every stage. And this workflow allows me to build a banger script in literally 60 seconds using validated pieces at every step. I know the topics worked because I saw them ranked. I know the hooks work because I saw the views. I know the style worked because I saw the views. I'm using data-backed pieces to make my own versions.
There we go.
This is what using the data to make content on social media really looks like. And the truth is, most creators and brands are not yet approaching social media.
24 minutes, we snap.
Are crushing everyone else because they only use the things that are proven with data. If you want to learn more about how to build one of these data-driven content systems using Sandcastles the way I did it, I'll link a few things below that walk you through exactly how to do it. All right, guys, that's all I've got for this video. We covered the 7 deadly pitfalls.
Now I gotta do client revision, bro. Like, I was almost done. I was about to be done. I was about to be so done. Now I got people who wanted revisions, bro. It's crazy.
Different things that aren't just regurgitation, so that you get unique insights and you have an edge over everyone else. So if you're a business owner focused on using content to grow your business, this YouTube channel is the best in the world. Also, if that's you and you like this channel, there's no reason you shouldn't be in Wavy World. I've got 65 free trainings in there with 35,000 other business owners. If you're not in there, they're getting an edge over you because everyone's collaborating with each other to try to improve their content together. So if you want to join that, I got a free invite link in the description below. All right, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Conscious mind. You can only hold on to one thought. Every thought is a vote for the world you will live in. By using the law of
There we go.
the conscious mind, you can only hold one thought.
We snapped, gang. Ain't gonna lie.
The conscious mind holds that determines how the emotions will react, how the subconscious mind will react. Since it can only hold one thought at a time, what you do is you causing the negative emotion, the blame thought, and you replace it with this affirmation. I am responsible.
The key to peak performance, the key to happiness, the key to success is to use the law of substitution and knock those negative emotions out of the box. By the very first time you think of anything that causes you stress, you say, I am responsible. I am responsible. Wait a minute, I am responsible. I like myself and I am responsible. And nothing outside of me is going to disrupt my peace of mind. I am in charge of my emotional life. I am responsible. You are responsible. Affirmations are strong, positive, assertive statements that you say about yourself, to yourself, and believe. All statements that you say to yourself have to be couched in a personal tense. The I, the word I am are two of the most powerful words in mental programming. You say I am, because only you can say I am about you. Nobody else can use those two words with regards to you. Where your subconscious recognizes that. When you say I am responsible, I am responsible, you can feel the words I am responsible and feel their effect on your emotions immediately.
Whenever you feel sad, or mad, or nervous, or out of control, write down what you're thinking. And then ask yourself, is it true? Is it absolutely true? How do I feel when I have this thought? How do I act when I have this thought? And what's the outcome of the thought? So, is it true? Is it absolutely true? How do I feel, act, and the outcome of the thought? How would I feel if I didn't have the thought? How would I act if I didn't have the thought? What's the outcome of not having that thought? Then my favorite part of it is take the original thought and then turn it to the opposite.
Force your mind to use the law of substitution. Take your mind off what you fear and refuse to entertain it. There's this beautiful technique. Whenever you start to think about something that's causing you to be upset, anxious, or tense, just say this word very loud to yourself. Stop. It's very much the same as hitting pause on your Spotify, or force stopping a glitchy app, or muting someone who won't stop talking. Just say stop. And what it will do is temporarily stop your mind. And as it stops your mind, then switch your attention on something you desire and insist on thinking about what you desire. Every single time you find your thoughts drifting back to what you're afraid of, say stop and go back to what you desire. It requires a constant effort to keep your mind on what you want. Now, most people are lazy. Most people are not willing to put in the effort. So what they do is they have a tendency to slide thinking about what's the worst thing that can possibly happen. They slide into negativity. That's why the great majority of people are negative and very few people are positive. So be alert to that.
In conjunction with I like myself, I am responsible is the most powerful, positive affirmation you can use. Because the instant that you say, I am responsible, you exert complete control over your emotional life. The instant you say, I am responsible, suddenly you are back in the driver's seat. You cannot say, I am responsible and feel a negative emotion simultaneously. The one knocks the other one out of your conscious mind.
For 21 days, I want you to keep your mind on what you want and off the things you do not want. Keep your conversation on what you want and keep the conversation off of what you don't want. Keep your dreams, your imagination, your thoughts and your feelings, everything in your environment consistent with what you desire.
Be very aware of the repeated thought patterns that you are having and start writing them down. Start really noticing how often you are thinking this thing. To then really try to dig underneath that, what must I believe about myself to be having that thought on a repeated basis? And then using that belief to create a mantra or positive affirmation that is the opposite of that belief. So even if it feels like it's not completely true at the moment, it does need to be quite bold so that every time you have the negative or the low self-worth thought, you can replace it with the positive affirmation. And it's very much backed up by neuroplasticity, because in the brain, you can't undo a pathway that's already there. You can only overwrite it with a new desired pathway, whether that's a thought or an action or a belief. You think of this positive mantra and you say it out loud, you write it down as much as you can. You can start to overwrite that belief in your brain.
Now understand this, nobody makes you feel anything. Nobody makes you feel angry. Nobody makes you feel upset. Nobody makes you feel tense. You always decide how you're going to feel. And then, if you're not careful, you will fall into a negative habit pattern of blaming the other person. Blame is the core of all negative emotions. When you stop blaming, you cut down the negative emotion tree. You cut it off to kill it. It's almost exactly as if this negative emotion tree were a Christmas tree and it were plugged into the wall. And the negative emotions were Christmas tree lights. And you took this plug, you jerked it out of the wall. The lights would go out simultaneously, just like that. How do you do this? You do this by using the law of substitution. Remember, the law of substitution says that the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time. It is the thought that the conscious mind holds that determines how the emotions will react and how the subconscious mind will react.
And that is the law of substitution. Now, the law of substitution, I've had many of my graduates tell me this has been the most important law they've ever learned. That the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time, positive or negative.
What's up, G?
A negative thought, the mind is not like a vacuum. It doesn't stay empty. If you want to get rid of a negative thought, you have to knock it out, if you like, with a positive thought. Is that you can replace one thought with another. You can replace one thought with another. And if you do that consistently, and if you replace any negative thought, any fear thought, any anxiety thought, any self-limiting thought, any negative expectations, anything that's holding you back, any fear of failure, lack, poverty, rejection, loss, or anything else, if you replace it with a desire thought, and this is the key, fear versus desire. If you keep your mind on what you want and keep it off of what you don't want, as you dwell on your desire, your fears diminish and get smaller. As you think about what you want, eventually, because of the law of substitution, you have less and less time, less and less emotion to think about what you don't want.
The law of concentration simply says this: whatever you think about over and over again grows in reality. You imagine that this is the total mental capacity that you have. And when you send a thought into this, it takes up this amount of space. But the more you think from the conscious to the subconscious, the more of your mental capacity is committed to thinking about this one idea, until you reach a point where if you dwell upon something consistently, you reach the point where you think of nothing else. And as you think of nothing else, you begin to set up this vibratory field that sends out thought energy from you, consistent with what you are thinking about.
Chillin' fam finally did some photos outside of work. I'm looking over them to see what I need to do. Oh, lit. I need to take a shower, I ain't gonna lie.
The law of concentration is to dwell upon, think about what you want to happen.
What's up, D?
See, the point is,
What you saying, bro? You said some
how
shit?
much future you've got. What's gone is gone.
Yeah, I was just saying, yo.
Nothing you can do about it.
What's up, D? Bro, I'm tired as hell.
Some of you have probably had
Overly
bankruptcies.
tired.
Some of you have had terrible things happen in the past. But what's wrong?
Oh.
In the past.
Oh.
And to spend your time.
I knew he was about to say don't spend it all in one place. I knew he was about to say it again. I was like, watch, he's gonna say this shit again. Don't spend it all in one place. I knew it.
Here right now, because the sand never stops running. This is all we've got. And to spend your time now thinking of what happened there is making absolute certain that the future is going to be the same as the past.
Also a quote from Alex Ramosi where it says, anxiety.
I need to start editing the YouTube videos for tomorrow. When I start editing YouTube videos, my mind just like my brain restarts. Like I love editing my videos. I love editing my YouTube videos. When it comes to like editing clients' photos, if it was a cool edit, I love to get into it and cook it up. But like my YouTube videos, bro, I love editing them shits, bro. Like there's no greater feeling than editing my YouTube videos. Like I love it.
I don't think so.
I love it.
Mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want into your mental factory because you've got to live with the results.
You can train your brain. So basically what you can do is...
You saw an albino squirrel, caught a photo of it, it was wild. Bro, I saw a black squirrel in New York, bro. Like a full black squirrel. I took a picture of it. It was fully black. Like it was a jet black squirrel, gang. It was a jet black squirrel. It was actually very insane.
right? So if literally, if your brain says, hey, by the way, this
There's a damn jet black squirrel, bro. I was like, what the fudge am I looking at right now?
my friend Steve is there.
The squirrel was jet black.
It was amazing.
My mentor was just telling me about some Christmas stuff in NYC. Nah, I should go down there this year. Yeah, you should. You might see a black squirrel.
Look for that. What are you actually doing? You're firing.
You know what I'm saying? You might fuck around and see a black squirrel.
Your book basically says it is the answer. Huh? The answer is when you find gratitude. What the gratitude journal that you kept for years.
The most in
What was it telling you?
Nah, bro, that squirrel was, bro. I was like, whoa, what? The squirrel was black. I was like, bro, that's not a squirrel. I'm like, it is a squirrel. I kept blinking my eyes. I'm like, bro, that's a freaking squirrel. Fab was like, whoa, bro, what the hell? We're looking at all the other squirrels. One squirrel is black. I'm like, yo, he's built different. I'm gonna have a V mount in my bag, plug my phone and camera in, and go off. Go crazy, gang. No cap. Did he have Timbs on? No, the damn squirrel didn't have no damn Timbs on. The damn squirrel ain't had no damn Timbs on. Oh, lit, bro. He have Timbs on? He ain't no damn Timbs on, man. No damn Timbs. Stepping in the rain with my Timbs on, blood to make it rain, make it a big storm. 13 on my ball mange, it's a big storm. Yo, blood will make it rain, it's a big storm. Bro, I'm buying that M4 this year, man. I don't know if I'm buying the M4 or M5, but I'm buying it. I'm getting the Pro Max 128 gigabytes. Yep. Yeah, I said what I said. 128 RAM, nigga. Yeah. 6 bands. I haven't really came to terms with it yet, but I definitely think I'm taking out a loan. I'm not gonna lie. But we'll see. Cause I feel like it's gonna withstand. Cause I'm about to buy DaVinci because y'all use DaVinci. I want to start teaching y'all how to use it. Cause I know how to use it, but I don't know how to I don't have Pro. I know how to use the regular. I don't know how to use Pro. But I want to buy it, start learning it, start making better tutorials. Cause a lot of people have both, so I want to be able to make tutorials in both. You know. So we'll see. Let's go. Yeah, shut up. But I gotta get that high GPU so that I could do all of the stuff I want to do. I'm about to start leveling up, bro. That brand deal got me right because I'm like, oh yeah, I want to use DaVinci for that brand deal, D. Like in a few days, I want to use DaVinci for that brand deal. So we'll see. Cause I know they have a lot of like add-ons and stuff like that. That you could get like packs and stuff. But I want to see what comes with DaVinci. I don't want to have to add on any. I don't have to buy anything. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to buy just DaVinci and not have to get any packs or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to just buy and just use just DaVinci itself without any packs or anything like that. I want to be able to just use it itself because I really want to use it for its like, you know, the text effects, the all of that stuff. I've been doing research. I'm trying to. I don't want no what's the name. I don't want any like I don't have to buy anything. I want everything to be just included. Whatever I want, whatever I get, I'm gonna use that. I'm not gonna like, you know, just how Final Cut is with me. Like I don't want to have any extra, you know, text effects that I have to upload, no shit like that. I want to be able to just create everything myself or have it myself. Like with Final Cut, I created my adjustment layer. I created my own adjustment layer. You know, I created some of my own effects using Final Cut Motion.
Your thoughts. If you wish to change any of the conditions of your life, you have to change the thoughts that precede those conditions. Our beliefs do form our realities. To the degree that we believe anything is true, to the degree to which you believe anything to be true, our beliefs act as sort of like a screen. They filter out any information that is inconsistent with our beliefs. However, if we begin to change our beliefs, we begin to change our realities. They exist only in your own mind. For 21 days, I want you to keep your mind on what you want and off the things you do not want. Keep your conversation on what you want and keep the conversation off of what you don't want. Keep your dreams, your imagination, your thoughts and your feelings, everything in your environment consistent with what you desire. It's all in your mind. Whatever you hold in your mind will tend to occur in your life. If you continue to believe as you have always believed, you will continue to act as if you've always acted.
And that is that you are not your mind. Just like you're not your hand. Your hand is a part of who you are. And you're not your foot. And your foot is a part of who you are. And you're not your mind. Your mind is simply a part of who you are. It's not you. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate negative thinking from our mind. The first technique is called cut it off. And in the cut it off technique, what we do is the instant that we find ourselves thinking a negative thought,
I just finished that. I'm about to send it to her. I'm about to airdrop. I'm about to airdrop myself these.
We don't argue with it. We don't analyze it. We don't defend ourselves against it. We just cut it off. And the key in this technique is the instant that you're thinking a negative thought. Like maybe the negative thought comes to you, oh, you're worthless.
All right, so that's done.
And you find yourself thinking it, and you go, oh, wait, that's a negative thought. Just cut it off and insert a totally different thought.
I got, I think all the Halloween, I got one more Halloween.
The time to start is now. The more you commit to yourself, to becoming the best person you can be, the more you like yourself and respect yourself, the more energy you have, the bigger goals you set for yourself, the more you persist.
Your mind is either working for you or against you. That's what it's doing. And so by the end of today's episode, there's going to be a couple things that go down. First of all, you are going to understand that you have the power to reprogram your mind. That's right. You can take simple steps and you can practice them every day to train your mind to work for you.
You can't think two thoughts at the same time. You can't think two thoughts at the same time. That's the foundation of the law of substitution. If a negative thought enters your mind, you can't just let it leave. The mind doesn't work like that. You have to replace it, or you have to substitute it. If you're thinking of fear, replace it with courage. Everything we do begins with a
Brace Michelle had the do-rag.
We first have to change the way we think. Our mind, when we know how to change our mind, we rewire neural networks in our brain that then create useful and automatic actions and attitudes. Good habits makes us happier and healthier, hence the term mind management. Where you are now is just a reflection of your best thoughts, your best thinking. So if you want to change your future, you gotta change your thoughts and then ultimately put them into action. Your mind is always listening to your self-talk. It's always eavesdropping. We have to stand guard to our mind. It is as simple as being conscious of those thoughts and then maybe adding a little word. So for example, I don't have a great memory. Maybe add a little word, like yet. So instead of saying, I don't have a good memory, you say, I don't have a good memory yet.
A positive mindset is not going to change the reality of what is going on around you. Here's what it does, and this is why it's important. It empowers you to face it, to deal with it, and to survive it.
Consciousness is awareness, and awareness is paying attention and noticing. The first step is to become conscious that we are a certain way, and sometimes it lands as an insight, or a download, or a life experience that just kind of goes like, oh wow, like I behaved this way, or I did this thing. So the more you practice being present, the better you get at it.
Do you remember them days when you thought it was absolutely unbearable and you thought you wasn't going to endure that one? Do you know that your survival rate for every last one of them bad days is 100%? Your track record for surviving bad days is 100%. All you got to do is start changing the way you think. It's as simple as, it's not a magic trick. You can protect yourself from negativity.
Taxi, you should listen to Big Think on YouTube. They go behind the science. Oh, that's lit. Bet
It's
I'm
a
with
real
it.
simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. You know, I get tired sometimes. That's different from being negative, because I get mentally drained from my job at times. But to coach your mind from negativity, the way you can put a coating around your mind is with one simple thing: gratitude. Gratitude erases negativity.
When a negative thought enters your mind, don't fight it, replace it. You can't think about two things at once. So when you think of fear, think of courage. When you think of doubt, think of your goal. When you think of failure, think of the lesson. Every time you change the picture in your mind, You change the direction of your life. The mind doesn't care what you plant.
I hate
It will
doing
grow
like too
whenever
much
you give
body
it.
morphing, bro. My
Weeds
clients
or
be
flowers.
asking for
So
it.
choose your thoughts like you would choose your future. Carefully, intentionally, and with faith. Because the law of substitution doesn't just change your thinking, it changes who you are.
Like, you know, one of my favorite things is killing the ants, the automatic negative thoughts. Whenever you feel sad, mad, nervous, or out of, write down what you're thinking. Just write it down and then go, is it true? And then write the opposite. Tana never listens to me. Tana does listen to me. And then go, is that true? And you'll often find the opposite of the thought that's torturing you is true.
Double your failure rate. Double your failure rate. Use the law of substitution and derive a valuable lesson from every single failure. Every time something goes wrong, look into it and say, why is this happening to help me? And you will find that in every setback or disadvantage, as Napoleon Hill said in his book, there's a valuable lesson, an opportunity.
We are not collections of atoms.
I think a lot of people don't realize that investing is a problem that's been solved. We know what the average returns are for equity, for fixed income. We know what inflation looks like over the long haul. We know what the economy.
Yeah, the flow state is being surgical. The flow state is surgical.
The wild card that we haven't yet solved for is our own behavior. There have been literally thousands of books telling people, here's how to invest. But you could do everything right for years and years and years, and if you just make one or two mistakes, all of that hard work goes out the window. Instead of telling people what to do, let's tell them what not to do. Let me walk you through the biggest traps that you should be aware of that are a danger to your financial well-being. I'm Barry Ritholtz. I'm Chairman and Chief Investment Officer of Ritholtz Wealth Management. My new book is How Not to Invest, the ideas, numbers, and behaviors that destroy wealth and how to avoid them.
Chapter 1. Why your brain makes you a bad investor.
So our brain is this wonderfully evolved organ. It's less than 5% of our body weight.
I love when people write books and then make videos breaking down their books. Like I love that. Like
Brains are what's helped us essentially dominate the planet. We're social cooperative species. We've evolved and adapted in a very hostile world. And all of the instinctual lessons we've learned over the past 2 million years, all of the way we're wired, are geared to keep us alive in those sort of dangerous circumstances. We're highly attuned to existential threats. We're primed towards action. We tend to notice really bad news and we tend to ignore good news. Why? Because these are all successful survival strategies in the wild. The modern markets have existed for a century or two. There were no municipal bond markets 500 years ago. There were barely equity markets 400 years ago. And so to imagine that 2 million years of evolution somehow prepares you to make decisions, most of human history, we live 20, 25, 30 years. The idea of having to save and invest for decades in the future, it's just so out of our realm. When we look at how stocks compound, these are just far, far outside of our instinctual experience. We simply have a hard time imagining the way that math works, because exponential math didn't help keep you alive on the savannah. And so we're in a situation where the pharmaceutical companies call this off-label. When they give you a drug for a reason that's not its originally intended purpose. We use our brains off-label. Our brains help keep us alive in a hostile, competitive environment. We're using our brains today to pick stocks, to make asset allocations, to make long-term financial decisions. We simply were never built for this. And so it's in our interest to be thoughtful, to understand why we make these errors, and to try our best to avoid them if we want to succeed in the financial markets. So it's very useful for investors to develop a little bit of a spidey sense, a little bit of a self-awareness as to what's motivating their behavior. So let's talk about how our own cognitive errors and biases lead to bad decision making when it comes to investing. Let's talk about your limbic system. I want to share a quote from a friend. Dr. William Bernstein is a neurologist and investor, and he said the secret to success in investing is managing your limbic system. That's the part of the brain that's responsible for your fight or flight response. Learn to control your limbic system, or else you will die poor. That's a pretty strong statement, but it comes from somebody who studied this over the past few decades. And our inability to manage our emotions, our sense of greed and panic, often leads us to bad decisions. I love the metaphor of Star Trek's Mr. Spock as a metaphor for the stock market, right? Mr. Spock is half Vulcan, half human. One half of his thought process is very logical, but he is also influenced by his emotions, his mother's side of the equation. And when we see the stock market, the Spock market, we see that very often it's some rationality and logic fighting with emotions. Most of the time, the market is fairly rational. It's a future discounting mechanism. It takes stock prices and it says, here's what our best estimates are of future revenue and profits, and that means prices should be...
Who am I listening to? It's called Big Think. BIGTHINK. They got like 8 million subscribers on YouTube.
Think about late 1999 and early 2000s.
Hey girl, what's up, Trin?
Everybody said, I have to own me some of these .coms, and piled in.
But yeah,
sometimes
it's called Big Think.
About March 2009,
BIG
when
Think.
people were convinced stocks were going to zero. The credit markets are frozen. The government doesn't know what it's doing. Stocks are going to zero. And the people who capitulated, the people who panic sold, they regretted it. When the S&P 500 hit 666 in early March of 2009, that was a reflection of the emotionality of all the people in the market just panicking and fleeing. Here we are, 15 years later, almost 10x higher. Logic tells us that we need to be invested for the long term, and also tells us that we have to control our emotions so we don't panic chase stocks up in 2000 and then
I'm most definitely. We're live on YouTube right now. What am I working on tonight? I'm live on YouTube. I'm editing some client photos, trying to get them done. Tomorrow's Halloween, so I got a lot of like Halloween edits and get out of the way.
And so when you have this
We've been editing for 24 hours straight. I need to go eat.
If it's fear, well, you want to make the pain go away. You want to stop. What that manifests itself as during a market sell-off is a little bit of panic, and people sell because they're afraid they're going to lose their money. The flip side of that is the greed button. We're jealous, we're envious. We want to have not just money and wealth, but we want to think of ourselves as intelligent and successful. And the way we do that is by buying the stocks that are going up the most. And so when the market is rallying, there is a tendency to stampede into the best performers. You know, the old joke is there's nothing more frustrating than seeing the idiot down the block become rich when you're not. And so FOMO, the fear of missing out, is simply, why didn't I buy Bitcoin at 50 cents? Why aren't I in Nvidia at $2? Why didn't I buy gold at 500? On and on it goes. The answer is there was no basis, no rational, reasonable basis for you to buy any of those things at those prices. Our emotions get in our way because they're not part of our long-term plan. They're
About to jump on
part of
YouTube,
our
bet.
evolutionary wiring, our wetware. Look at what took place during the pandemic with GameStop and Hertz and all of these other companies that skyrocketed in value and then turned around and crashed, these aren't investments. These are speculative bets. Hey, God bless anybody who bought GameStop, at $1 and sold it, 10 or 50 or 100x higher. I'm thrilled for people who do that. The problem is most of us had no reason to think that was any sort of investment. It turned out to be a speculation. Some people made money, a lot of people lost money, but the bottom line is that's not investing, that's speculation. I'm all in favor.
To me,
of
speculation
setting up
is
a
gambling.
Cowboy account. If you like that sort of thing, take 3, 4, 5% of your liquid net worth and put it into a trading account. Have at it. Buy all the Bitcoin and GameStop and stock options you want to trade with, but understand 2 things. If it works out, well, great. It probably wouldn't have worked out if it was all of your assets. Imagine you have your stock allocation and it's up 2x, 3x, 4x. People start to panic and say, hey, I got to protect these gains instead of investing for the long run. With 2, 3, 4%, you could let that run and it doesn't really matter. It's not going to cause that sort of fear of losing all your money. On the other hand, if it crashes and burns, if it goes to 0, well, thank goodness it was 3% and not your entire portfolio. The advantage of a personal account, a cowboy account, is it doesn't matter how high it goes or how low it goes. If it scratches that itch from me, it forces my big dumb lizard brain to leave the rest of my money alone. Another bias you should be aware of is narrative fallacy. Look, humans are storytelling animals. We haven't had a written language for most of our history. In fact, it's only over the past few hundred years that most of us know how to read and write. And so telling compelling stories was a really important way to share information, person to person, generation to generation. But the problem with that is compelling
I'm sending these pictures to my clients. Hold on, y'all.
Walk right past data, warning against danger, warning against problems. We've seen all sorts of different things come out that attract our attention, different trading apps, NFTs, SPACs, all these different investing products, these financial products. They have their moment in the sun, they catch our attention. Some people who are in there early do well. Everybody else who plows in late, they're the suckers at the poker table. They're left holding the bag. And so we've seen all sorts of companies with a great narrative tail around it fail to see the data supporting that narrative. The numbers matter just as much, if not more, than the narrative. There's a tendency for us to look at something and say, hey, how hard can it be? Not realizing that most complex endeavors involve practice and expertise and study to become even marginally good at it. In fact, there's an entire field of study called the Dunning-Kruger effect that the ability to evaluate our own skill set, also known as metacognition, is in and of itself a discrete skill. And so very often people who lack a particular skill are unaware that they don't have that skill. And you can see this in sports, and we see it in investing. Newbies have a tendency to not only be overconfident, but also to have no set of awareness of how lacking they are in skills. And so this is why we should make fewer decisions and try and make less unforced errors. So let's talk about confirmation bias. The world is not black and white. It's full of nuance and shades of gray. No matter what position you're taking about this stock or this sector or whatever it is you want to put your money into, it's not that hard to find arguments either in favor
Welcome
of
to the
that
Big Think Club.
investment or against that investment. Confirmation is a problem when we're thinking about deploying capital to a specific
Oh, like doing something
asset,
else at the same time while
and
sitting
then go
down?
out
Yeah.
seeking information that just supports our view. We're not doing research. We're just making ourselves feel better about buying these. That's what confirmation bias is. What we've learned is that when we want to buy a particular stock or bond or asset, we shouldn't seek confirming information, we should seek disconfirming information, meaning, all right, I want to buy this, let me go out and find on all the reasons why I shouldn't buy this. What are the risks? What are the dangers? What else should I be looking at instead of this? When we go out and try and disconfirm our beliefs, it's a more objective, fairer approach to doing research. If we turn around and say, hey, I can't find a compelling reason not to buy this, after you've done your disconfirming research, that's a better decision than just sifting through all the stuff that's out there and only reading the things that agree with your point of view. We all have this tendency to live in our happy little bubble, our happy little confirmation bias bubble. We watch the same TV channels, we read the same things, we look for information that tells us you're smart, you're right, you're doing this the correct way. That's not the best way, that's not the most effective way to sift through news. You should be able to make the argument pro or con on every investment in your portfolio. If you can't argue for and against it, you really haven't done the research. When I was a kid, I used to watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and the show would open with this panorama of the African savannah, and there'd be wildebeest and all sorts of creatures and zebras and gazelles. There was always that one gazelle on the outside of the pack, outside of the herd, and you knew what was going to happen. There's safety in numbers, there's safety in the herd. When you're by yourself, you eventually become somebody's lunch. Humans evolved as social creatures. You know, a human alone in the jungle doesn't survive very long. We don't have fangs or claws or armor. By ourselves, we're very vulnerable. But as part of a tribe, as part of a troop, we can be cooperative and help ourselves get along. That's why we have a bias towards trusting other people, towards believing other people, being a cooperative social primate. It's really been enormously beneficial to us. Where that starts to hurt us in the market is when the crowd is starting to sell, when people start to panic. The hardest thing in the world to do is to go in the other direction. And so people talk about, let's buy low and sell high. Buying low means buying when most of your fellow people are selling, and your instinct is to go along with them, not lean against it. It's really, really hard to do. So loss aversion is this interesting evolutionary development that we feel losses just about twice as intensely as we enjoy gains. And when you think about what that means, when the markets begin to wobble, when they sell off, it sends our bodies aflame. It makes us concerned that we're going to lose our money, we're going to lose our investments. And so loss aversion often leads us to make bad spontaneous decisions because, hey, we're down 5%, we better do something or we're going to be down 10%. What we really need to learn is that markets are down 5%.
Bow. What?
They're down
bro,
10%
what's up with
just
you, bro?
2 out of every 3 years. Markets go up and down. Risk.
Bow is crazy. Like, what?
The same coin. And if you want to be in it for the long term to garner the reward, you have to go through the risk.
Nothing.
Drawdown through the
Bow is just crazy.
And that's where getting your loss aversion, at least understanding it, you may never be able to get it under control, but understanding it and preventing it from affecting your decision making becomes really important. So the way anchoring comes up frequently in markets is someone will buy a particular stock and then turn around and suddenly the stock is a loser. It's below what they paid for. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard this, please just let me get back to break even and I'll get back. People get anchored on that price. It affects how they look at the stock, how they look at the asset. We fixate on numbers and allow them to affect us.
Man, clients. You didn't do nothing, bro. You didn't do nothing. I'm going back and forth with clients right now, bro. Like I'm trying to cross people off the I'm trying to cross people off my list, and they keep coming back on my list. Like, I'm trying to cross them off the list, and then they keep asking for revisions to get back on the list. And I'm like, bro, get off the list. Like, get off my list so I can go to the next person, please. Like, shit, yo.
What really should pay close attention to are just something as simple as politics. You know, we've seen studies when we analyze how a zip code has voted in a presidential election, and then cross-reference that with how their portfolios are invested. This is all done anonymously based on just zip codes. Nobody's names are involved in this. But it turns out that when your guy loses in the presidential election...
Bro, I don't even know. She was like, she wants the background darker. I'm like, bro, what?
You have a tendency as a group to get out of stocks. And the reverse is true. When your guy wins and you're subsequently asked, how do you think the economy is doing? How's the market doing? Suddenly your view of the world goes way up. It doesn't matter who wins the presidential election. If you're invested over the long haul, you're going to do better. In fact, studies have shown that whether a Democrat is in the White House or a Republican is in the White House, it really makes no difference to the long-term performance of the stock market.
Oh, God.
Presidents get way too much credit for when
she want Mortal Kombat back.
Way too much blame when things go poorly.
Bruh.
What really matters is the ability to compound over decades. And so that sort of tribalism, that sort of rooting for your team with your dollars never seems to work out well. The recency effect is one of my favorites. Every month we get a data point like non-farm payrolls. And month after month, year after year, these come out in a string. They're based on a model. It's subject to revision. It's kind of noisy. More or less, it gets it right. Really, when you think about the data, why do we spend so much time paying attention to the most recent non-farm payroll? Well, there's 330 million people in America, about 165 million people in the labor force. Each month, 3-4 million people leave their jobs. Some quit, some retire, some go on sabbatical or maternity or paternity leave. Some people just shuffle off this mortal coil and join the choir invisible. At the same time, another 3 or 4 million people start work. They graduate school, they switch jobs, they return from maternity leave or sabbatical.
Bro, I don't know what I could do to this, bro.
Job quitters and those job starters, that's essentially the non-farm payroll report.
I don't even know what I could do to this
new bodies are in
to
the
make it
labor
look better.
force
I need to. I gotta text all my clients, bro. Like I got hella clients on. I got hella clients on Saturday, bro. And I gotta edit this wedding tomorrow.
Out of 165 million workers, out of 330 million people, it's a really tiny number. And the model isn't perfect. You know, the old joke.
Oh, that's not bad.
All models are wrong, but some are useful. So when we get the Bureau of Labor Statistic data, really what we want to know is, are we still on trend? Are we still operating within the same, more or less, parameters we've seen?
If all the clouds different, shit.
Yes.
Fuck you, we ball. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo.
Change significantly from prior months. That's
whoop-de-doo.
People live in the here and now. We exist in
my fingers hurt.
And what just
no homo, my fingers hurt. From editing, my fingers are going crazy right now, I ain't gonna lie.
Tendency to overemphasize whatever's going on in the market this day, this week. We tend to ignore long-term trends. We tend not to picture ourselves 10, 20 years in the future and what our needs are going to be. This is just how we live. This is just the nature of human beings. Whenever I want to figure out the risk tolerance of a particular investor, I'm very cognizant that if the market's going up, they tend to say, oh, I'm okay with risk. I'm a long-term investor. I'm aggressive. If the market's been going down for the past few weeks, the same person will give you a very different answer. You know, I'm a little conservative. I'm a little averse to volatility and risk. They're not revealing their true nature. They're essentially telling you what's been happening. We have a tendency to overemphasize what's just happened because that's the moment we live in. We live in the here and now, and it affects how we interpret everything that's going around us. You know, we need to learn to be long-term greedy, to think about decades, not short-term greedy, thinking about the next 10 minutes.
That's real though. Short-term greedy is death.
Chapter 2. Investing is a loser's game. Here's how to win it.
So why do we even invest? We want to put our money to work because 20, 30, 40 years from now, we're going to stop working and retire, and we're going to need something to pay our bills. Most of us aren't going to be able to live on just Social Security. And so we put our money to work so that it'll compound faster than the rate of inflation. And really, it's your job as an investor to not interfere with your portfolio's ability to compound over that time. The loser's game is a concept created by Charlie Ellis in a paper he wrote 30, 40 years ago. Eventually it became a book called Winning the Loser's Game. And Ellis, legendary guy, chairman of the Yale Endowment, on the board of directors of the Vanguard Group, Ellis noticed that investing and tennis were both very similar in that they're two games in one. There's a winner's game and a loser's game. What does that mean? Well, let's use tennis.
Bro, I have so many DMs from clients, bro.
Example.
Oh my goodness.
There are two games in tennis. The game the professionals play, the top 0.01% of players, and then there's the game the rest of us play, us 99.9% of the world who are amateurs. How do the professionals play? They play the winning game. They win by scoring points. They serve aces. They hit with power and accuracy.
Yeah, that's love. I'm sorry. I'm reading y'all DMing me and shit. I'm reading them right now. Somebody was like, just saw your video on the optical snoot. That shit was fire. Yeah, thank you, man.
Amateur plays. How do us amateurs play? We lose through unforced errors. What sort of unforced errors? We double faults because we're trying to serve too hard. We hit the ball long. We hit it wide. We hit it into the net. We hit it right to our opponent. Instead of trying to play outside ourselves, beyond our own ability, us amateurs,
there's so many emails.
just return the ball. Just keep it in play. Don't try and kill it. Don't try and hit the line. You are not skillful enough to do that. If you make fewer unforced
Girl, my eyes hurt
errors
too.
and you let your opponent make those mistakes, you will win the loser's game by making less errors. And so Ellis compared tennis to investing, and he found something really fascinating. A handful of professionals, a tiny number of people, they can pick stocks and know when to sell them. They can identify which sector or country to invest in. They can time the markets. That's the point.
I'm about to get back right. I'm sorry, y'all. I am definitely. I'm like, my brain's like gone right now. I'm coming back. Hold on.
The rest of us,
my brain's fried, bro. I'm trying. Hold on. My brain is fried. I got so many different text messages right now.
We get emotional. We overtrade. We don't pay attention to costs. We ignore taxes. We make all of these mistakes that if only we avoided them, we would do so.
Everybody uses ChatGPT now, bro. My client just sent me a ChatGPT.
We're so similar. Most of us are playing the loser's game and playing it badly. If we make fewer unforced errors, we would just be so much better off. So a number of academic studies have found that a surprisingly few percentage of stocks are actually driving market returns. Professor Hendrik Bessenbeiner at Arizona State University did a study, and he found that just 2% of stocks are responsible for all the returns that we've seen over the past 75 years. Depending on the country you look at, maybe it's a little more, a little less, but it averages around 2%.
Also,
how is that possible?
Being that her birthday is November the 28th, I always usually recommend booking about a week in advance so that way I can get the photos back to you in a timely manner. And as far as your product photography session, are you looking to do the product photography prior to the birthday session? Question mark.
Winners that drive returns. In the context of the loser's game, where we want to make fewer mistakes, every decision we make is another opportunity for error. And given how much the odds are stacked against us, if only 2% of stocks are driving most of the returns, what are the odds that we're going to pick that 1 in 50 stocks that's going to be a big winner? First, you have to identify a company that over the next 1, 3,
If you happen to
5,
have
10
any
years
inspiration photos
is
for
gonna
both,
grow its revenue
I
and
can
its
give you
profits.
the correct package
That's
that would
hard to
fit
do.
best for you
Secondly,
and your needs.
you have to buy that stock at the right time and at the right price. Overpaying for a stock
Inspiration.
isn't gonna help you at all. Third, you have to be willing to hold that through all the ups and downs that company is going to go through. Economic cycles, missed revenue expectations, missed profits. Stocks don't go up in a straight line, they're up and down. And sometimes when stocks pull back, it's just a temporary setback and eventually they recover. Knowing when something is just pulling back temporarily,
Clients are going crazy right now.
its
Hold
best
on.
days are behind it and it's on the way down permanently, that's a really difficult thing to do. Emotionally, we have all these sunk costs in that stock. We've researched it, we've investigated it, it's helped make us money. We're loath to cut it loose because, hey, we're tied up.
Yo, this is tough. Wait, sorry. Wait, are y'all looking at my screen right now? This edit's hard as hell. I ain't gonna lie. This kind of just came out so tough right here. Hold on, let me share this same video that I'm watching right now with the financial literacy chat.
Microsoft
I'm putting it in the financial literacy chat.
well. Intel, not so much. How can you identify that in advance? Being added to the Dow is like, hey, you've made it. This is the top group of stocks as decided by the editors of Dow Jones. And now when we look at the performance of these two stocks, they've gone in completely different degrees. The odds are stacked against you being a successful stock picker. And to put some numbers to that, let's take a look at professional mutual fund managers. In any given year, less than half of them beat their benchmark, meaning they're going to do better than the market. So that's telling us fewer than 50% are actually picking stocks better than just a boring, cheap index is performing. You take that 1 year and expand that out to 5 years, it turns out 80% of them fail to beat their benchmark. You take that to 10 years and it's over 90%. Net of fees and taxes, less than 1 in 10 mutual fund managers beat their benchmark. And over 20 years, it's virtually nobody. And so understanding how much the odds are stacked against you as a stock picker is why indexing has become so popular these days. People have figured out, I'm not going to try and pick the next NVIDIA. I'm going to buy all the stocks, and that way I'm guaranteed to own that. And it prevents you from allowing your behavioral errors.
Hold on, I'm
to
editing the chat
interfere
real quick.
with your portfolio. You're not selling a stock prematurely. You're not timing the market. If you do regular dollar cost average, if you buy a chunk of stock, you buy a specific index every month, every paycheck, you're guaranteed over the long haul to do better than 99% of your fellow investors. So when you're thinking about putting money in the market, you need to have a plan. And I try and lay out a number of specific steps you can take really to prevent yourself from interfering with
Definitely
the
automating your investments is probably the best thing you can ever do, because you're an emotional creature. So your emotions are going to get in the way every single time. Every fucking time. And if you know that that's the type of person that you are, don't try to fight your emotions. Just understand, like, oh yeah, I'm emotional and I can't, change that. So figure out how you can work around it. If you know that you're emotional when it comes to money, how can you change your mindset around that? How can you change your habits to allow you to be emotional around money? You automate your investings. What do you mean how though? So okay, if you're over the age of 18, you should be able to create an account with Robinhood. You can connect that account to your banking account and it will ask you, do you want to have reoccurring investments? And you can say yes. It will ask you how much money do you want to reoccur and what is the frequency? You will say that I want to do reoccurring investments of $1 every single day. And then it asks you, when do you want it to stop? And you would say, don't stop. It'll do it whenever it can. And as long as there's money in that account, it will continue to do it. And when it will continue to do it, It will invest it every single day at whatever the frequency is you put. You can put weekly, daily, monthly, whatever. I have that shit daily. So every single day it does a certain thing. And then on certain stocks, I have it on weekly to where on Friday it takes a certain amount out. And it's always investing it into whatever I put it to invest into. That is like the easy way to do automation, right? Then you can also use this app called Acorns, which will do it for you. It'll be like, do you want to do moderate? Do you want to do moderate, medium, heavy investing, or risky? I'm always at moderate because it's like almost guaranteed. It's like the lowest level of risk. Acorns, you swipe your card, you use your money or whatever, it'll take the cents, the change or whatever from your shit. It will take the cents and the change from your it will take the cents and the change, and it will put it towards it will invest it for you. So if you spend something that's $1.50, it will round it up and it will take the extra 50 cents and it will invest that extra 50 cents for you. How do you write the name? The name, Acorns, Acorns. I might have a link. I don't think so, but Acorns. It's called Acorns. 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 Yeah, I think I have a link. I think I have a link for Robinhood. It might give you a free stock or something like that. But yeah, my Robinhood name's Taxi. Yeah, my Robinhood's name's Taxi PNG. But yeah, Robinhood. Yeah, and you can have multiple accounts on Robinhood. As long as you're over the age of 18, it's free to open a Robinhood account. There's no monthly thing in it like that unless you have like Robinhood Gold. I have Robinhood Gold because I invest heavily. But it's called Acorns, Acorns. Let me see. How can I share my link? That's the easiest way to invest, gang. I ain't even gonna lie to you. You set it up to where, like, yeah, bro, I'm telling you. I don't even know where the hell this damn share is. But yeah, because if you set up Robinhood, then you can set up a Roth IRA and all that extra shit that comes after that. But just set up the Robinhood first, and everything else can come. You can contribute a certain amount of money, because with IRAs you could contribute up to $7,000. But I'm gonna say like $50 a month if you're first starting out. $50 a month to IRA, $100 to $200 a month to your investing, and just have it automated to where it takes a certain amount of money out weekly, so you don't think about it. So $100 a month is $50 every Friday. $100 a month is $10 a day. You see what I'm saying? So I mean $200 a month is like $10 every day. Probably is Acorns not available in Europe? I don't know. I have no idea. I know Robinhood, I think, is global. I don't know how to share my damn thing though, but I think Robinhood's available globally. Where's the shit where it's like there was like a thing where it was like, oh, add it from where I don't know where it's at. I don't know where it's at for me to, because usually I have a thing where it's like get points, share your link or some shit. I don't know where it's at no more though. Bro, I'm getting so many are these text messages that I'm getting right now. Like, what does that sound? What does that sound? But yeah. There we go. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the back here too. But yeah, automation is like the best way to invest, bro. Automating it, take your emotions. Yep, like he just said, take your emotions out of it, bro.
Whatever your tax-deferred saving plan is, you're making contributions every paycheck.
Do you need the Robinhood wallet too? Nah, just Robinhood. Just Robinhood.
If the market goes down,
just Robinhood. You just need Robinhood.
At a better price. Over the fullness of time, that sort of dollar cost averaging every paycheck every month means that you're buying regardless. And the math tells us that's the most effective way to invest for the future. Nobel laureate Paul Samuelson once said, investing should be boring. It should be like watching paint dry or grass grow. If you want to have some fun, take $800 and go to Vegas and gamble. Don't gamble with your portfolio. Let's talk about diversification. Investing is really a very humbling exercise. We all have to admit to ourselves, we don't know what stock, what commodity, what sector, what country, what asset class is going to do best this year. You know, you get this quilt, this patchwork showing year by year what have been the best performing sectors in the market, and it's completely different year by year.
Oh, this came out. This came out so bad.
Of the league table. The next year it's tech stocks. The next year it's small cap value. It's all but impossible to predict. And so rather than throw darts, rather than guess, we own a broad, diversified portfolio. We own a little bit of everything, and that means you're always.
That means an ETF. I just posted that video though. I just put the video in the chat. I just made a new finance chat on the Discord.
Diversification means you're.
It's in the stocks investing in finance. That's the one that I'm watching right now. You're doing it right now, lit.
Rather than guessing, it's the best way to make sure you own the best performing assets. You know, Jack Bogle, founder of Vanguard Group, famously said, instead of hunting for a needle in a haystack, just buy the whole haystack.
Buy the whole haystack.
You have to be aware of costs.
ETFs.
It's simple math. The more you're paying for a mutual fund or an ETF, the more that drags on your performance. In fact, we've seen a number of studies over the years that over the course of 25, 30 years, a high-cost portfolio, everything else being equal, will generate 20% less value at the end of those 25, 30 years than a low-cost portfolio. A study on the Bogle effect, Jack Bogle was the founder of Vanguard that specializes in very low-cost funds. You could look at BlackRock and State Street are similarly low-cost funds, are known for that. The Vanguard effect has identified that by 2016, Vanguard fee pressure had essentially saved investors.
Bro, I don't know which one y'all messing with. The darker one or this one? This one's tough, but this one looks better though. I don't know. Looks like she conjured some shit.
It's about another $1 trillion in fees that have been saved by the Vanguard effect. It's that much more money in portfolios. It's that much more money that's compound and that investors own. And so fees matter a great deal. Go back to the bad old days of the 1960s and 70s. Mutual funds used to cost 1.5%, 2% of your assets. Some funds came with a front-end load of 5%. In other words, you give the fund company $100 and they invest 95 of it for you. Think about what a drag that is on returns. And really, the technology didn't exist for us to understand this easily. People just saw the markets were going up from World War II to, let's call it 1966, was a really substantial gain in assets. Nobody really focused on what's driving these gains and what are the headwinds we're up against. And then something similar took place in the 1980s and 90s. We had a big bull market. Around the 70s and 80s was when we first started paying attention to the data as to the drag fees put on performance. So it's not just mutual funds, it's transaction costs. You know, it used to cost $300, $400, $500 to buy a stock. It's free today. We deregulated the markets in the early 70s, and that allowed brokers to compete on fees. And we went from a few $100 to $100. I remember the commercials for the various online trading shops, $8 transactions. Eventually, that became free trading. And so the cost structure of that is gone. And then when we look at what's taken place with mutual funds and ETFs, it used to be 1.5%, 2% to buy those. They're well under 0.5% today. You could buy a broad index like the S&P 500 or the Vanguard Total Market. It's 5 bips. The cost is practically nothing, and that just compounds in your favor. The lower your cost, the more you keep at the end of your investing life. You know, back in the bad old days, you would get a quarterly update of your portfolio. You'd get a statement, and it was a big deal. Everybody sat around waiting for their statements to arrive, and you would see how well you did. And that was probably too extreme in one direction. Technology has given us the ability to watch our portfolios second by second, tick by tick. That's too far in the other direction. You should check your portfolio occasionally just to see how it's doing. Monthly is probably plenty. If you're concerned about something in particular and you start noticing yourself checking your portfolio more frequently, sometimes that's a little bit of an alert that, hey, maybe you have too much risk on and you're too concerned about your exposure, or maybe we're entering a period of market volatility, and that's going to create an opportunity for you to buy stocks at a cheaper price.
Sorry, clients are typing, boy.
About the importance of rebalancing, let me give you a little context of what rebalancing means and how you should think about it. The idea is that stocks go up over the long run. And so if you have a portfolio that, let's say, is 70% equities and 30% bonds, in the event of a market sell-off, hey, maybe you end up 60% equities and 40% bonds because of how those two asset classes.
All right, gang, I'm about to close out.
What we suggest to people,
I will send a screenshot on this.
Into equities. Sell a little bit of the bonds.
What should I choose for the primary reason of opening an account? I would say savings or investing or something like that. Say something low, and then ask what your occupation is. Say student.
It's sort of counterintuitive.
Like you choose something low key. You know what I'm saying? Choose something low key.
Down 20, 30, 40%. That's where you want to engage that. Most of the time, you shouldn't really be worrying too much about rebalancing. I don't think it's that important for the average
do buy sell at the top.
So nobody knows
at the top one.
From William Goldman, who was a screenwriter in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and he wrote a pretty
I've seen the screenshot. Do the top one. Buy, sell, crypto, own funds, hold platform.
Executives in the various studios were.
Nah, most def. Y'all welcome, man. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. I'm gonna see y'all later. I'm about to go watch this. I'm about to go wash my ass, and I'm about to get back right to editing. But I think I'm gonna just make stuff just for Patreon or something like that, like some more tutorials. I'm trying to build out this. I don't like calling this shit a course, but I'm trying to build out this course for y'all, so that way so I could create some real cool shit for y'all. Things of that nature. What the fuck going on? What the fuck going on? Let me see. I'm trying to think like. I low-key want to make like bottom. Hold on, let me see. Bottom of a. I low-key want to do it like bottom of a mountain, but I don't know how it's gonna look. And then savings or personal income. I'll say savings. Wait, it's asking what kind of income you have? I'm gonna say savings. Say savings. Savings is a safe bet. So you're like asking, are you using it your savings or personal income? You're using savings. Safe, nice, low key, small bet. All right, if you can give pricing for both, that would be great. For models and pics, with just initially it would be just the product to load to the website, and I did the models in a campaign shoot later, but interested in hearing your thoughts and seeing your vision on models with the product shoot. Let me go talk to this client, bro. I'm about to go talk to this client, and cause I'm trying to see what I'm trying to see what vision she got for this. All right, y'all. I'm gonna TTY y'all and things of that nature. See y'all later.